This week I am super excited to get to talk to Jennifer Volman. She is a triathlon and mindset coach. She's also an age group triathlete and a mom. What is going on, folks? It has been quite a while since I have put a video out, and I apologize for that. I have been getting the requests, the comments on Instagram and through Strava or on the OCE Discord server. I appreciate you reaching out, asking how I'm doing, wondering when the next video is going to come out. And honestly, I was feeling pretty burnt out after the race, just to be completely honest. I think leading into that race, I put a ton into making the videos and into the training, and then getting to the race and being there in that environment, and then just putting everything I had into that run. I came home feeling exhausted. It was the end of summer. It was leading right into August, which is all of our birthdays. My wife, myself, my two girls, all of our birthdays are in August. I actually left after the race at 4:30 in the morning the next day and drove 15 hours. Left at 4:30, got home in my driveway at 7:30 that night on Monday. And it kind of hit me yesterday, which we are a little over 3 weeks out from the race, what I think might be going on, and it has a lot to do with my sleep. So I went back and I checked my Garmin record for the last 4 weeks, the week of the race, and then the last 4 weeks. And I have been getting 6 hours of sleep on average a night. The week of the race, I averaged 5 hours and 48 minutes of sleep. The week after the race, I averaged 5 hours and 32 minutes of sleep. And then last week, about 6.5. Well, first, it hasn't affected my workout motivation to get out there and train, but I'm noticing it's affecting my recovery. It's affecting my mental sharpness, clarity, just overall attitude, shorter temper, things like that, as well as lack of desire to be creative. I have picked up this camera over and over and over again in the last few weeks, starting to record, it's Monday morning or whatever it was, and record for maybe 10 minutes, whatever, and then just stop, and I don't finish it. So I apologize for being out of there. Right now, I'm about to do a ramp test, 15 minute, I think it's 20 minutes total, but a ramp test because I have switched over from Zwift to Trainer Road, and I'm gonna do a ramp test to get an idea of what my FTP is. Other thing I've done is I've taken the Trek, which is right back there, which used to be on the trainer, pulled it off, gone through the process of getting a new hub and new cassette and spacers so that I could put my Canyon on the trainer and start working out on my Canyon more, since the majority of my training during the week is right here on the trainer, and using the power from my Quark power meter, which is part of the bike, and not using power generated by the kicker. So since I'm doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and do an FTP test today. And then right after the FTP test, I have a 1 hour ride. But then after that's done, I'll talk about the race recap. I did share it on multiple podcasts, so I feel like I put it out there, but I didn't do it for you guys who watch the videos. So give a short recap and then let you know where we're at. I mean, Finland is right around the corner. I leave next week for Finland. So let's knock out this ramp test. Not sure how much video I'm gonna get because I'm really just gonna be focused on knocking this ramp out. All right, well, heart rate is down to 153. Previously, my FTP was calculated using Zwift and the kicker on the Trek. And when all of that data synced with Trainer Road, when I first signed up a couple weeks ago, it calculated that my FTP should be 292, which seemed a little high to me. And I think that was proven last week when I did a workout that was supposed to be at 80% FTP, and I couldn't do it. I had to scale it down. So we decided to do a ramp test today. And now with the Canyon Quark Power Meter Trainer Road, I hit over 300 on the test, but it recommended my FTP be 262. So I went ahead and accepted that, and we'll see how the workouts feel with that FTP. But now I've got a couple more minutes kind of cooling down from that, getting my heart rate reset a little bit, and now I've got a 1 hour training ride. Well, that second workout was good. It was just a couple of 20-minute intervals at 210 watts and hour total. So all good. Now I've got to get cleaned up and get to work, but you might have noticed in some of the video that the Mustang is missing and the minivan is parked there. Well, like the title said, I had to use a little clickbait saying goodbye for now. That is not referring to me and making videos. That is referring to the Mustang. I haven't shared on here, but my stepmom, who lives with my father in Ohio, has been really sick for a while, battling cancer, and has felt horrible, really homebound, couldn't get out, couldn't do much, couldn't walk a lot. And both my dad and her love the Mustang. It was my dad's best friend who originally owned the Mustang. So him and I used to work on it when they lived here, and they loved that car. My dad loved to drive it. She loves to drive it. So thankfully, recently, due to some procedures, she has been feeling much better, to the point where she can get up and go shopping and walking and all of these things. So I had the idea of sending the Mustang to them so that they can enjoy it while they can. So when I got back from the race, the Tuesday after, a trucking company showed up, loaded the Mustang on that truck, and they took it to Ohio so that my dad and my stepmom, they can enjoy it. My dad loves to tinker on it and work on it. That's one of the main reasons I haven't done much on it other than keeping it up, is him and I used to work on it, and I loved that and spending that time doing that with him. Since then, I've really just maintained it to keep it running, but I know he loves tinkering with it, and he's already been pulling the doors off and working on the mechanics to roll up and down the windows, and he will tinker on it a ton, and him and her will drive it to little car shows and go to lunch and to dinner. So the Mustang is gone, and it's still mine, but it's gone for who knows how long. I hope they keep it and they drive it and they enjoy it and they get 20 more years out of it. But when the time comes, I'll bring it back and it will be mine again. And quickly, that void got filled. As soon as that car was gone, Christina was like, now my van can fit inside. So yes, the minivan has now taken the spot of the Mustang, but I am just so thankful that she is feeling better and can enjoy the car. But now I've got to get cleaned up, I'm gonna get something to eat, I'm gonna get to work, and then at lunchtime, I will give a brief race recap and talk about what's next. All right, well, I have put this race recap off long enough. So again, I apologize. It feels like I'm so far out from the race now, but I don't want to leave that just kind of open-ended, not close out what happened, because overall, it was an amazing weekend. Going to Salem, making that drive up, I love doing that. I love the road trip. I love the build into it. Salem is amazing. The people there, the city, it's just a great event. If you're looking for a destination race to do, and the swim is super fast, I Can't recommend it enough. I have decided not to go next year. So 2024, I will not go back to Salem, but 2025, I think it's gonna be on my list again. Going into race weekend, everything went great. Getting up there, perfect. Hotel, perfect. Just had a bunch of fun. Seeing everyone, registration, all of that stuff. It was a lot hotter this time than it has been previously. It felt really humid. Now, the night before the race, went to bed around 8:30, still daylight out, and around 11:30, just before midnight, I believe, I was out cold, and I thought my alarm was going off. So grabbed my phone and realized it's not my phone. I can see that the fire alarm in my room is blinking. So I go over and I'm fanning it and I'm pushing the button thinking it's false triggering. Eventually got some clothes on, made it out the door to see that everybody is exiting the hotel, and made our way downstairs. And you come out the back exit of the hotel. We went down the back fireway, exit of the back stairway. And as we come out, it is smoky in the hallway, and it's right next to the convention center. Went outside, and the fireman comes out of the door next to the stairway that we came out. We're watching him from outside the windows, and it's like a movie. There's smoke coming out, and they were back there putting the fire out. Apparently, a employee's e-bike, the battery, caught fire, and we all went downstairs, we all evacuated, but luckily we were only down there 30 minutes or so, so back upstairs. Did take a little bit to fall back asleep because I was pretty much ready to roll at that point. Did get back to sleep. Woke up feeling good, got my calories in, got down to the race early, got down to the swim early, got in the water near somewhat the front of the race. It's hard to get to the front of that race because as you walk 1.2 miles to the swim start from transition, you line up at the estimated swim time, but by the time you get there, people are going around you and it's crowded. So I'm not really sure how far back I started. I did feel like this swim was probably going to be slower than last year because the water was lower. It didn't seem like it was raging as much, but all in all, I actually had a 30-second faster swim. Last year, I felt like I was fighting the current, trying to stay in line with the buoys. We had to keep them on our left last year, and you were being pulled across the river, so I felt like I was swimming against that the entire way. This year, I made the decision right up front. I'm not even gonna fight that. I'm just gonna go where the water takes me and watch for that last buoy, make sure I make the turn. All in all, the swim went great. I got out of the water at 19 minutes and 37 seconds, which is great, faster than I did last year. I got through transition a lot smoother this year. I think last year, because everyone I'm up there with, we kind of all start together, you end up finishing with a lot of those same people where I might outswim some of them. So last year I got out of the water and was kind of frantic, trying to get to my bike quicker than others so I could get out there, because one of them I know for sure is a better cyclist. So I was really concentrating to try and get out there. I stumbled a lot last year through transition. This year, smooth, fast, got on the bike and felt really strong. I pushed probably harder than I should have because I knew I got on the bike sooner than one of the people that I knew I was faster than. So I pushed for that 10 miles a little harder than I should have, but overall settled in and just rode. I felt so much better coming off of the bike this year. Last year, when I made the turnaround, I felt like maybe I had overbiked it a little bit, but this year made the turnaround and felt great, and actually ended up biking faster than I did last year. I was 0.02 miles per hour under 22 miles per hour. I was really hoping to hit 22. I did a 21.98, so 21.98 miles per hour, and got into transition, had a really, really good transition. Got in and was 2 minutes and 6 seconds into transition and out on the run. One of my goals has been to get out of transition T2 in under 3 hours. I really have wanted to get onto the run in less than 3 hours, and I have not been able to do that. It's always been 3:03 or 3:05, and this year I was actually able to get out of transition at 2 hours, 59 minutes, and 46 seconds. So just made it under that 3 hour mark. So that's been a kind of a little mini goal. And yes, I had the swim in my favor because I was about 10 minutes faster, but I hadn't been able to do it in the previous 2 Oregon races. So this year I finally finally got out under 3 hours. Got out onto the run, and in my mind, I just wanted to run this race. The last couple of races I had last year, I ended up walking a lot. Santa Cruz I walked because I was in pain. La Quinta, I walked over half of it because I was in so much pain. I wanted to just be able to run this. I thought if I have to, I can walk the aid stations, but I want to run as much as possible. And got out on the run, and I felt really, really good. I think I was just so happy to be running and to be pain-free. And then eventually, when the pain set in, I was feeling pain because I was pushing my limits. It was myself driving and pushing as hard as I could, and I was hurting from that. And really the joy that came from hurting, from pushing myself beyond where I think my fitness was really at, because I hadn't run more than 9 miles leading into this race. And most of those runs had been 9 to 10-minute miles trying to stay in zone 2. So to be out there and to be pushing and feel like I'm hurting, but I wasn't in pain from injury. It was amazing. I was kind of riding a high, and the miles were just ticking away. I ran the first zone, I'll just say zones because they're not really broken up in, say, miles, 7:58, then a 7:57, then an 8:03, then a 7:53, 8:17, 8:11, 8:15. So all of those were going really, really well. I made a decision when I got out of T2 that I was not going to look at my watch constantly to see what my pace was. I was only going to check it when it would beep and I passed a mile. So I would only check it in my mind every 9 to 10 minutes. Well, as those continued to beep and I just continued to be amazed that I was running sub 8, sometimes maybe 8:10 or a little over, but it was just consistent, one after another after another. And then when I finally got to mile that 10 to 11, you are almost on the way back to the bridge, I hit a wall. And I really felt either my nutrition was off. At that point, maybe I hadn't taken enough in on the run. I was using a gel flask, and that felt really good. I felt like I was doing really well. The other side of it could have been that I kind of hit that limit to my run fitness and how far I had run. I hadn't run that far since December, almost 7.5 months ago, and I'd been injured, went through surgery, all of that. So I kind of had exceeded the distance that I had run since surgery. And I hit that wall, and those last from mile, I guess 11-ish, 11.5 to 13 when I finished, 13.1, I averaged 9:06s. So I dropped off almost a full minute in that last few miles. But I came across the finish line in 4 hours, 48 minutes, and 28 seconds. I ran 8:17s for the run, which was 1 minute per mile slower than I did it last year, but I made up 5 minutes somewhere in there between the swim, T1, T2, the bike. I made up 5 minutes. So overall, my time this year was only 8 minutes slower than last year when I was healthy, fully trained. So I was really happy with that. I came across that finish line, I felt good, I felt happy, and when I saw that clock, I kind of knew because I was watching my time. I was looking, and I knew I could break 5 hours. And then at mile 6, I started calculating, and I knew, well, maybe I can get close to 4:50. And I just kept pushing and kept pushing. So when I came across the line, I couldn't believe that it said 4:48, and that I was only 8 minutes off last year. So all in all, there is nothing to complain about with this race, with how I felt and how everything went. Honestly, if I could have a similar race to that same type of race in Finland in 10 days, that would be incredible. I don't really see that I will have some breakthrough in the last few weeks between Oregon after having kind of a recovery week and now having a couple of weeks to ramp back up. I don't know that I'm gonna run any faster. I know my swim is probably gonna be about 10 minutes slower because it's not a river swim, it is a lake swim. The bike is rolling, so I should be similar, and then the run is kind of rolling, which Oregon is really flat. So all in all, I'm really hoping outside of the swim and the additional time in the swim, I'm really hoping I can have a very, very similar race, which if I did, that would really put me on that border of breaking 5 hours. So if I can run a little extra, if I can put a little extra into the run, then we'll see what happens. That's pretty much it. I am extremely happy with it. Came back extremely happy, came back motivated to train. Now I just gotta get my sleep back under control, get through Finland, and then work towards Arizona, which is where I'm really putting all of my effort. Finland, I'm gonna taper a little bit. I'm not going to cut back a lot, just like I didn't really cut back for Oregon. I'm really kind of training through Finland, get through Finland, and then all focus will be on Ironman 70.3 Arizona in October. And I am really hoping for that race, I can see some major improvements, and who knows, maybe I'll have big enough improvements that I'll get a slot to the 70.3 World Championships in 2024 in New Zealand.